What is up, you guys? My name is Roman, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. And today I'm going to be watching and reacting to what if a bioaccurate Godzilla evolved by Goji Center. Now, this video just came out, but this is actually I think this is they had to re-upload it. I've not seen it yet, but I did see a post that they had to re-upload it because apparently their first attempt of uploading it got demonetized just for using like a second of Godzilla footage or something like that. So, uh yeah, hopefully this will stay on their channel. This will be I'm not sure how many times they've re-uploaded. I think this is just they've only re-uploaded once, so hopefully this will stick, but if not, maybe third time's the charm. But hopefully I'll stick to the channel. But either way, and hopefully it won't affect this video. But either way, we're just gonna yeah Either way, make sure be sure to go subscribe to Goji Center. I will link them in the description below. And without any further say, let's lock in.
Bio-accurate Gojira, a legend whose plausible existence has been constrained by realism and evolutionary roadblocks until today. Ever since we first started our bioaccurate takes on various sea monsters like the Bloop and El Granaha, this was bound to happen.
Well, that's cool.
Godzilla has been stomping through the public consciousness for over 70 years, and various artists have taken a swing at bringing the King of the Monsters to reality. Now, it's our turn for a unique take on the most popular monster on the planet. This is Goji Center's take on bioaccurate Godzilla. So before we show you what this creature would really look like if evolution ever took a turn and granted us a bioaccurate Goji, what makes a creature a Godzilla? We need to settle that first. Dozens of incarnations across all media have existed since the Big Lizard's debut in 1954, and plenty has changed between them. The original 1954 Godzilla had prominent ears, round dorsal plates, and expelled a phosphorus mist that could ignite most of Tokyo. The sequel era, in the 80s and 90s, it was a mutant dinosaur.
Yep.
Made him twice as tall, way more burly.
Wait, but he was always a mutant dinosaur. Like in the original film, he was confirmed to be a dinosaur, right?
And he could unleash shockwaves at will. The legendary Pictures version had sauropod-like feet, jagged dorsal
Of course he was. Anyways,
plates.
We'll restart.
Godzilla had prominent ears, round dorsal plates, and expelled a phosphorus mist that could ignite most of Tokyo.
Yep.
The sequel era, in the 80s and 90s, it was a mutant dinosaur.
I think you mean the Heisei era. That's what it's called.
Made him twice as tall, way more burly, and he could unleash shockwaves at will. The legendary Pictures version had sauropod-like feet, jagged dorsal plates, and a beam that ranged from looking like a jet of napalm to a Kamehameha. The anime trilogy version,
Yeah, it was awesome,
was a homicidal metallic plant with force fields and plasma beams. And this video would be another hour long if we started explaining extra-dimensional quantum physics for Ultima. But
exactly.
putting all these down into a Venn diagram, we think we can all agree upon a certain number of traits. Godzilla is usually a 1. Reptilian, or at the very least reptile-like. 2. Stands upright, amphibious, has fin-like spines along the back, has a long tail, and obviously needs to be huge, at least by our standards.
On a side note, I don't get why they call Godzilla amphibious sometimes. Cause like, are they saying like he's like an amphibian? Also, if you hear, I don't know if you can hear it, but next door they're making some noise. They're like vacuuming or something because they're moving out. But if you either way, just ignore it. But yeah, it's cool. Or no, yeah. So like I get that maybe because he's being like an amphibian, but I don't know. It doesn't really make sense because Godzilla's a reptile. He's always been a reptile. I don't know. I need to look up the definition of amphibious, but not right now. But if anyone can tell me, let me know. Otherwise, yeah.
Something that could have plausibly existed still be considered a Godzilla, they have to check all of these boxes. Other features, like some kind of projectile weapon or special powers, must be addressed later, because no creature on planet Earth, to our knowledge, has ever sizzled anything with atomic breath.
Exactly.
But we might find something kind of similar. And lastly, just to make it a little easier and interesting, because you can only do so much all at once because of this pesky thing called reality, we're going to be approaching this from two different angles. First is Godzilla, as they are known for their shape, with the goal of crafting a creature that fits the silhouette of a towering reptilian form that stands tall, with spines down the back. The second is Godzilla, as they are known for their size and nature as a sea monster. Since marine creatures can get much larger than land animals, this oceanic leviathan will keep some of the shape while still being able to get even more enormous. All right,
Wow.
let's get started. Section number 1, the
Do it.
land form. So, one of the criteria that we mentioned earlier is that this needs to be a reptilian. But for it to end up looking like Godzilla, we need to resort to going further back in time to some of the earlier reptiles and let evolution do its thing and cook up something truly unique. Secondly, this thing needs to end up as big as possible. The largest well-studied land animal at the moment is Argentinosaurus, a
Yeah, I just learned about that recently.
genus many of you have seen, even if not by name. The Titanosaurus in Jurassic World Rebirth and the so-called Brontosaurus in Ark Survival Evolved are pretty much near 100-ton titans. Will our bioaccurate terrestrial Godzilla be this big? No. For starters, sauropod dinosaurs only got as big as they did because they were sauropods, not outside factors like the environment, gravity, or oxygen. Being quadrupedal herbivores with those enormous necks meant sauropods could support massive amounts of weight while being able to move their necks back and forth.
Yeah, and also, as I've reacted to, as I've said, and as I've reacted to another video I reacted to where Neil deGrasse Tyson and Charles Leo, or whatever his name is, discuss on Star Talk that it would be impossible for Godzilla to exist if he was that big, because he would be too big to move. But we did have remotely big creatures like these sauropods, like the sauropod anatomy, but Godzilla is way bigger than that. He's like, especially the MonsterVerse Godzilla, he's 393 feet tall. So I think, yeah, I think the sauropods, even though they can be pretty big, they have a certain limit. They're nowhere near as big as, let's say, Godzilla. But so that's why we're here, right? Making a bioaccurate Godzilla.
And up and down to browse vegetation in a huge area without even having to move much. That, combined with other traits, is how they got so big. The problem is a 100-ton Godzilla would look more like a sauropod and less like Godzilla. We are
Right.
also not making our Godzilla a theropod dinosaur to begin with.
Oh, you're not? But that's what he is. So you're gonna make him like a more aquatic creature? Is that, I don't know.
Despite them being the obvious pick, several versions of Godzilla, like the Powerhouse from the 80s and 90s, were mutated theropods. And plenty of people have done their own take on a realistic Godzilla as a theropod prior to great success. But
I feel like you should make Godzilla a theropod though, because that's what I would identify him as, personally.
we have different plans for our reptile. So,
Maybe the different plans will be interesting. Who knows? Let's watch.
instead, our first Godzilla will find its ancestry far back into the Triassic. Dinosaurs started to play a more major role in the late Triassic period, but we'll be using a lineage of archosaurs that dominated this period.
That's right. And Godzilla technically is from the Triassic period. Like because like there is an actual dinosaur from the Jurassic period that wasn't necessarily originally a Godzilla, but in later years it's been named after Godzilla. It's called the Gojirasaurus or Godzillasaurus. Like it was named after Godzilla. So in a way, Godzilla is technically real, and he was a theropod dinosaur. But yeah, here we go.
Meet the Pseudosuchians, meaning false crocodile.
I remember those. They were in, as they just showed, the show The Dinosaurs. The one with Morgan on Netflix with Morgan Freeman as the narrator. Such a good show, by the way. I highly recommend it.
Turns out to be ironic because there turned out to be real crocodiles in this family. During this time period, the croc-kin occupied almost every niche their later dinosaur cousins did, from high-browsing herbivores to fleet-footed scavengers to apex predators. These were one of the most versatile reptile lineages and perfect from where we can pick an ancestor for bio-accurate Gojira. And amongst these lineages was one that has everything we need. Hoposaurs are a lineage of crocodile cousins that might as well be nicknamed pseudo-dinosaurs, given that multiple members have been mistaken for dinosaurs at some point or another.
That's right, because they weren't all, because not all reptiles in the Triassic period were called dinosaurs. Like these things were as they explained in the documentary, the dinosaurs, as Morgan Freeman explained, they were like pre-dinosaurs, like the pre-stages that would lead to dinosaurs or something like that.
And one lineage might look very familiar to some Jurassic Park fans. No, this is not a Retrospinosaurus, this is Arizonosaurus, the ancestor of bioaccurate Gojira.
Oh, wow.
Named after the US state it was first discovered in, if something like this survived through the Triassic, it basically would have set itself up for success, especially with increasingly larger sauropods becoming the predominant herbivores after the extinction event that kicked off the Jurassic. Arizonosaurus will be given a golden opportunity for one crucial change: get big. After millions of years living in a land of abundance, plenty of flesh available from first scavenging the large carcasses of dead sauropods, hunting smaller dinosaurs, and then getting large enough to be able to hunt these larger animals down, the mighty descendant of Arizonosaurus takes its latest form as Typhosuchus serizawa, Serizawa's king of monster crocs.
Serizawa. Did you name that after Dr. Serizawa? Is that the case?
Height 5.5 meters tall in neutral stance, 7.7 meters raised up. Length 14 meters, carrying a skull of 1.7 meters in length and hauling 16 metric tons of mass and tail.
That looks cool.
What this tower of power lacks in speed, it more than made up for in size. Named for the divine king of the monsters from Greek myth who terrified even the gods. The descendant of Arizonosaurus is over twice as massive as many theropods. Even with most of this species being about half this size, they'd still handily outsize almost every predator who ever lived. And this crockin can reach the size it does thanks to several adaptations we'll cover in a bit. Two critical differences from theropod dinosaurs are what allowed this to become the largest land predator that ever lived. Firstly, while it is chiefly bipedal, Typhosuchus is capable of walking on all fours when it needs to move faster, or navigate softer ground by distributing its weight. Theropod dinosaurs largely aren't able to hold up their weight on their wrists because they don't have a locking mechanism for load bearing. A croc relative like this won't have that restriction. Secondly, one of the major
That's interesting.
differences between dinosaurs and their crocodile-aligned cousins is the shape of their feet. Dinosaurs walk on just their toes, having a digitigrade posture. Great for agility and climbing, not the best at load bearing without a lot of adaptation. Crocodilian cousins, meanwhile, walk on the whole foot, better distributing the weight, and the Typhosuchus ancestor species especially has had more than enough time to adapt weight-bearing adaptations like a huge heel bone. And with huge column-like feet that help bear this weight, they also have the added benefit of further muffling the footsteps on its approach. Add in a tail that can brace against the ground for extra stability, and the ceiling for how big something can get increases further. Some secondary adaptations, like specifically hollow bones and air chambers that some dinosaurs had, could also appear in this lineage. It just takes the right kind of reason for those traits to crop up multiple times via convergent evolution, where different animals might adapt similar features because of similar necessities. Crocodilians and their relatives do come from the same stock dinosaurs do, and have a lot of the same base traits, making this kind of similarity even more possible with the right circumstances.
Yep, I knew that.
Hunting for this animal varies depending on age. The younger, nimble typhos would attack anything from slower-moving subadult titanosaurs ambushed at night, large ornithopods ambushed at marshes, to the marine reptiles caught off guard in reefs or rivers. Just about the only thing that might menace a large adult would be a clash of the titans with a larger sauropod, or a single Typhosuchus squaring up with a whole pack of carnosaurs, much like how grizzly bears do against wolves. Rare across the Cretaceous, changing into different species over time, this genus benefits from an unusual display feature that lets it gauge interactions with its own kind and intimidate rivals when it is younger and more vulnerable. The sail it
Oh,
once had along the back has distributed more evenly across the back, split into multiple smaller sails to assist in flexibility. Similar to some lizards, the skin in these regions can flush and flash different colors, similar to chameleons who actually change color to express emotions or for intimidation.
I love how you have it. By the way, I love how you have it in time lapse or whatever, and you see the chameleon's eyes. Because I love how chameleon's eyes are just like all just going all just constantly flicking back and forth. That's funny.
Blue is a rare color in nature, and so is this azure radiance from color changing and iridescent scales catching sunlight.
Yeah, that's right. Blue is a rare color in nature.
Apart from grappling and using those mighty jaws for attack, there's an extra surprise.
It's ironic because I see things blue every day. I see blue things every day. I mean, I have I see lots of things, including this TARDIS mug. But yeah.
Asset they can bring forth. If this reminds you of Dilophosaurus, then you might know this never really happened in real life.
Yeah, what? How are you doing? Then why are you including this in your bioaccurate Goji? What?
However, there are some dinosaurs with projectiles that our big dinosaur cousin might also have evolved. Various
Whoa.
types of seabirds, like albatrosses, have quite the unsightly defense when
Shut up. They do that? I didn't know that.
they need to use it. By contracting certain muscles, they can expel a sac of sticky, irritating bile as a type of projectile vomit.
Holy crap.
Typhosuchus can do similarly, with a dark, tarry substance that can bind to skin and even damage eyesight if not flushed out. While mostly just a defense for juveniles, even the adults can expel many gallons worth when they need to, and they have the height advantage to aim down for the face of rival predators. But while our Typhosuchus is capable of navigating the waves and probably can cross potentially hundreds of kilometers of open ocean like modern crocodiles can, we would be remiss not to cook up another take on the King of Monsters that was a true sea monster itself. Section 2, Marine Form.
See, that's what I was thinking of. Because when you said it wasn't going to be a sauropod, I was thinking marine form. Or when you said it wasn't going to be, not a sauropod, when you said wasn't going to be a sauropod or a theropod either, I was thinking marine form.
Despite this being a marine Godzilla, it should still mostly be recognizable and check all our boxes. The main hurdle here is to find a real reason why our marine Gojira would wind up having so many of these dorsal plates, or fins in this scenario. If you pay attention, most large marine predators, be it fish, mammal, or reptile, they are predominantly similar, with only the fins they need, not what looks cool. Additionally, when the G-Man is at sea, any onlookers are either seeing his back or see them rear above the water waist up. This
Like a shark.
means that our bioaccurate Goji needs to have some degree of dorsal ridge and the ability to surface from the waist up and give it arms to some degree instead of full-on flippers. Less mosasaur and more seal paw. The easy route would be doing what we did with our bioaccurate bloop and pulling a base amphibian template from way back time. But we're sticking to reptilian, not dinosaurs, because they
Yeah, see? Reptilian.
curiously never developed many truly marine forms. Meme takes on Spinosaurus like Spinosaurus aside, the closest thing to a seagoing dinosaur we got to work with are penguins. We aren't using turtle unless
I mean Spinosaurus is a dinosaur that kind of was evolved to marine though, right? And using penguins isn't that off. I mean, they're birds and all birds are dinosaurs.
we decide on doing bioaccurate Gamera. So we'll find one that gives us a good
Hold on.
closest thing to a seagoing dinosaur we got to work with are penguins. We aren't using turtle unless we decide on doing bioaccurate Gamera. So
Okay, that's fair. That makes sense for a turtle, which I look forward to seeing if you do it.
we'll find one that gives us a good template and a huge amount of time for evolution to do its thing. Likely something you've never heard of. Meet The Mesosaurs. Not a typo of someone not knowing how to spell mosasaurs. These primordials from the Paleozoic predate.
Whoa, the Mesosaurus. Look at those teeth. It has so many. Those are some gnarly teeth.
Mosasaurus by over 150 million years, and 60 million years before the dinosaurs existed. So ancient that it's debatable if they are even true reptiles or not. Now, Mesosaurus, the icon of this family, was one of the most notable milestones of animal life, with adaptations for an amphibious lifestyle. Size-wise, these animals are not impressive at all, at only half a meter, but all big things have small beginnings. And with nearly 300 million years of evolution, there was plenty of time for this to change. Mesosaurs seemingly perished in one of several mass extinction events that plagued the latter half of the Permian in the lead up to the eventual Great Dying. But in this alternate timeline, a few
Oh, so was that in the dinosaurs documentary? I can't remember if it was or not.
of these had a stroke of luck. When larger marine reptiles appeared at the start of the Triassic, Mesosaurs evolved dramatically to keep pace. Ryujin ferox Yamane, Yamane's fierce dragon king. Length 17 meters. Skull length 2.5 meters long. Mass 25 plus metric tons. With the very largest individuals breaching the 17-meter mark, Ryujin ferox is capable of digging through reefs and seafloor to uncover smaller game, or grappling even with large prey like giant cephalopods or other marine reptiles. Similar to the fleshy dorsal fins on cetaceans, the species bears several on the back as well as shoulders to help it steer, and make up for the paws being more seal-like than whale-like. And with jaws over 2 meters long, sporting serrated teeth that carve through flesh like a hacksaw. Extra teeth across the roof of the mouth further help that chomping force behind those teeth to shred through hide and crush bones caught within its grasp. But how did they get this big? Across the Mesozoic,
How did they get big?
many species would be capped at a certain size based on whatever available prey was around. Mesosaurus itself came in highly variable sizes, with some individuals being many times larger than others. So, if a descendant managed to make it into the Cenozoic, and then especially into the Miocene and Pliocene as apex predators, they might well balloon in size to match or exceed rival titans like Megalodon and Leviathan. The species
Wow.
exhibits regional endothermy, keeping only essential areas constantly hot while saving energy elsewhere compared to mammals and some other sea reptiles of a similar size. A big enough meal can feed even one of these leviathans for over a week or more, reducing the amount of times this animal has to go out and fight and hunt, further increasing its chances of survival. While this species is mostly solitary, it does communicate with others of its own kind at a distance in two ways. Being one of many types of reptiles to independently evolve vocalization, Ryujin ferox is capable of calling out over potentially miles of open ocean to find potential mates or call out rivals. And for both close-up communication and shows of fitness, symbiotic bacteria similar to those found in lantern sharks have taken up residence in specialized pores and skin flaps across the body and fins. This was another reason the fins grew in multiple sets to begin with. These repositories do double duty as containers to stay moist
I like how you made them pink or purple in this case, kind of like Evolved Godzilla or Shin Godzilla. That's cool.
for some of their symbiotic bacteria, even when the Ryujin ferox pokes its back out of the water for a short time, with any lost bacteria being reloaded later from seawater. This display isn't just for communication, it's also a defense mechanism. Juveniles can coordinate massive bursts of glowing bacteria to confuse predators. Reptiles usually lack the specialized skin muscles seen in mammals, but some venomous lizards have evolved a similar trick,
Like the Gila monster.
tightening their skin to force toxins out. It's not exactly a nuclear pulse, but visually it comes relatively close. Two titanic apex predators. In most scenarios, nature would have cooked up something very different than these nightmares. But if there's anything unlimited in the universe, it's the possibilities evolution can take. After all, every apex predator exists because somewhere, somehow, evolution is already preparing its rival.
Whoa, what happened? Glitched. So is that the end of the video then? I mean, of course it is. It's at the end, but like, are they not going to say anything? That was their outro? I mean, I guess it makes sense. They did say a thing. All right, well, I guess I'm just gonna end it here. But that was a very abrupt ending, but I like it, and I hope you did too. This is a very this is another cool, interesting concept for a video that I've seen so far in Goji Center, and I'm hoping to react to more. And yeah, I really enjoyed how they gave two concepts for a bioaccurate Goji, like uh one is where they made him the crocodilian ancestors to dinosaurs or whatever they are, and then they made him a more aquatic creature with like a fully aquatic creature. I think there was cool. I think I like the second one better, where he's similar to the Mesozosaurus, or what was it called again? I think it was called Mesosaurus or something like that. But yeah. So I hope. But yeah, that's overall I enjoyed this video a lot. Uh, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like it, possibly share it with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.